So where do you go when the fire is low? You're feeling unnerving when you're feeling no burning.
What's up, everybody? Noah Kaser back here for another episode of Noah Kaser Live. Let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about Saving Bikini Bottom, the brand new SpongeBob movie, the Sandy Cheeks movie, Dr. Jekyll, a brand new film starring Eddie Izzard from Hammer Films. We also have a premiere date for Horizon: An American Saga Chapter 2, when that was pulled. So let's get into that. But we'll also be going over a ranking of all of the July movies I saw, all 19 of them, as well as the box office results, the Netflix top 10, and what's releasing this week. I'm not going to be doing the Release Rewind. Release Rewind was last Tuesday, so I'll be only doing that once a week to not say my thoughts on that. So let's get right into it. The first review is going to be for Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Now, this movie is one I was very interested in because I am a SpongeBob fan. I grew up with the first 3, 4, 5 seasons of the show, and I was really excited for this. Let's get right into it. When Bikini Bottom is scooped from the ocean, scientific squirrel Sandy Cheeks and her pal SpongeBob SquarePants saddle up for Texas to save their town. Now, this is about them going to save their town, but why are they being taken? Well, because there's this evil scientist who wants to use these SpongeBob characters as toys. They want to sell them as toys. That's basically it. And when they use this machine, it destroys the original, so the original is gone. But now they want to sell them as toys in a park, in a water park. Along the way, we get to meet Sandy Cheeks's family, and let's go right into this. This film is a big mess. It's a big, big mess. Sandy Cheeks movie should have not been this big of a deal. It should not have been this messy. It's a very simple premise, I think, to what you actually should have done. So, this movie does lean too much into the new animated movie style, whereas they don't really get into the whole great story plots and fantastic animation. They more go for the easy jokes for kids. This is a generic animated movie, folks. This is not SpongeBob. This does not feel like SpongeBob. I'm not going to say that Steven Hillenburg would be disappointed, but he probably would be disappointed in this, because the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob and the SpongeBob movie that was meant to be the end of the SpongeBob franchise should have been the end of the SpongeBob franchise, because that was peak SpongeBob. This is abysmal. This is abysmal as a SpongeBob project. As a movie, let's get into that, because I do have some thoughts on this. While the CGI on the animated characters is new, I did like the style at some points. It did have a SpongeBob SquarePants animation feel to it. It was a lot better than that special they did on CBS, where it was like a claymation. I liked this style a lot more than the claymation style. Wanda Sykes is our villain here. She tries here, but the script does not deliver her any favors. This script is very poorly written, not funny, almost in the slightest. I did get a couple laughs, but that's mostly because they were down in Bikini Bottom, and SpongeBob and Sandy and Patrick and everybody was doing their regular shtick. We don't have that here. We really don't have that here, and we should have. We should have had that, but this movie really did not know how to write these characters. They didn't know how to write these characters. They didn't know how to respect the franchise. You can say you can be a SpongeBob fan, but here's the thing. The SpongeBob fans who are going to watch this are going to be about my age. There's going to be people who will watch this because they grew up with SpongeBob, and they will be very disappointed. If you are a younger child, probably like, I'm going to say 13 to 4 years old, you're going to love this movie, because this SpongeBob movie does have a lot for them. I'm sure it's a lot like New SpongeBob. New SpongeBob cannot touch the peak of SpongeBob SquarePants. This does not give me anything. This does not give me anything that I loved about SpongeBob in the slightest. This SpongeBob movie is piss poor. With that being said, the worst part about this is not only the jokes are awful, but the CGI on the human characters when they're in these suits. When Wanda Sykes is in her robotic suit with her head just floating in there, hooked with like this thing in her glass head is just stupid. At the end of the movie, when her sidekicks go down to Bikini Bottom, that is piss poor. Those look awful. That CGI looks awful along with the suits. Trying to give them like Sandy Cheeks style suits to go down there. Okay, but here's the thing. You're not using very much logic either, because, yeah, they are up in Texas. They're in Texas. They're breathing air. I don't remember them being given anything to be able to do that. They're fish. They are fish. He's a squid. Squidward is a squid. SpongeBob, in the very first episode, Tea at the Tree Dome, couldn't breathe in that open air. There is an episode where they go up to dry land. That's a very memorable episode for me, where they get chased by a seagull, and Sandy Cheeks has to save them. But this movie really just annoyed me more than anything. Saying that SpongeBob movie annoyed me is not going to be surprising to anybody, but here's the thing. I like SpongeBob. I go back and watch the SpongeBob episodes I grew up with because they're more for adults. They're more for adults. I remember when the VHS tapes came out, and you had Home Sweet Pineapple on there. You had Band Geeks on there. You had Snowball Effect, SpongeBob Christmas. This thing is awful. Not saying that it's one of the worst films of the entire year or anything, but for me as a SpongeBob fan, this just disappointed me. I wanted more from this. This is definitely one that I'm not going to recommend to you unless you are a fan of new SpongeBob. If you're a fan of new SpongeBob, then go for it. If you're not a fan of new SpongeBob, this is not going to be for you. This should have been a lot better, and instead, they just decided to completely ignore what made SpongeBob SpongeBob. The CGI is awful. The script is poorly written. I did get a couple laughs, and I liked the animation style when they... The CGI on the human character is awful, but the CGI on our characters doesn't look awful. It's just a bit jarring because we're not used to that style yet. We're not used to seeing a CGI SpongeBob movie because most of the time he's hand-drawn. We did get a little bit of Sponge Out of Water, which was CGI, but that's fine. See, that's fine. It's half the movie. This is more than half the movie. It's only an hour and 15 minutes, and it didn't drag very much. It just wasn't very good. I'm going to end up being nice and giving SpongeBob SquarePants, okay? I'm going to give Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, 2 out of 5 stars. The CGI is nicely done. The attempt at the story is... It's a nice attempt. You just need a couple more rewrites in the script to make it funnier. Don't make it a generic style movie with these types of jokes. And we do have a somewhat of a climax here with Sandy supposedly turning her back on everybody because she didn't know that her research was being used for this. We've gone 25 years and we couldn't explore this in an actual episode or a TV special. Instead, we had to do a movie. Gotcha. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Are you going to watch Saving Bikini Bottom, the SpongeBob... sorry. It's not the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, and let me know your thoughts down below. So, next we're going to go into another new movie. This movie was sent to me to review by Hammer Films. This one does star Eddie Izzard. This one I was offered a screening link for, and I took it. So, this is going to be a modern twist on a classic horror tale. And that is going to be for Dr. Jekyll. Now, Dr. Jekyll is a brand new film from Hammer Horror, starring Eddie Izzard. Recluse Dr. Nina Jekyll befriends her newly hired help, Rob, played by Scott Chambers. They must work together to prevent Hyde from destroying her life. This movie is bad. This is a bad movie. And the reason why this movie is bad is not because of the overabundance of just boring dialogue. They don't give our characters anything of substance here. I hate to say that, we don't have anything of substance for our characters. Sorry. This is one that does not do anything with its story besides potentially lead to a decently timed jump scare. But the issue is the story is not all that interesting. With a movie like this, I need the story to be interesting. If your movie is uninteresting, you lose the viewer. While your practical effects are decent and the lead performance by Eddie Izzard is awesome. It's a great performance, delivers on every level. Scott Chambers does a good job too. A good actor sometimes can save a bad script. This cannot. This cannot. This should not be allowed. This really should not be allowed. It's one that does give you a bit of, it gives you moments of greatness. It gives you moments of greatness, and within those moments of greatness, it's mostly just between Eddie Izzard and Scott Chambers. Their dialogue scenes are very well done. They're well written. It's just you're not all that into the story, and the ending is very well done with the practical effects, but your movie is boring. This is a boring film. I'm not going to recommend this hardly at all, because this should have been better. This should have been better. And instead, we get a mediocre horror film that has some decently timed jump scares that lead to almost nothing. There's not anything that makes me want to go back and watch this, even only at an hour and 24 minutes. This is one that should have been maybe like a 45-minute special. This did not need to be a whole movie. This was poorly written, poorly done, and really something I watched this morning and I went, okay. So this is what this is. I'm not going to recommend this. Hardly at all. Eddie Izzard does give a nice performance, very awesome performance. The best part of the movie is that performance. Scott Chambers does a decent job, and the practical effects are good, but your story is poorly written. I don't have much to say about this film, but there's my review of Dr. Jekyll. I'm going to give this 2 out of 5 stars. And let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you interested in seeing Dr. Jekyll? It is available on VOD right now, and if you're interested, check it out. If you're a fan of Eddie Izzard's past talents, of his past performances, good performances. The story just wasn't there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So, we're going to go into the comments before we go into our one topic, because it is a slower news. Past couple news days have been very, very slow. So let's get into this. Hello, Sav. Welcome. Welcome, and it's awesome to see you. He says, I do like SpongeBob, but I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan anymore. I like the first 3 seasons. I do like a couple episodes from seasons like 4 and 5, like the Krusty Towers and Truth or Square or something like that. I like a couple of those, but I'm more into like the first 3 seasons and the first SpongeBob movie. I have seen all the SpongeBob movies, and they've gotten progressively worse as a result. But that's because the writing isn't there from Steven anymore, because he sadly passed away. But I really wanted to like that film. He also says, I like Eddie. So do I. I like Eddie too. I just wanted more from this film. Is it really that bad? It's not awful. Okay, it's not an awful film. It's not one of the worst in the entire year. And by the end of the year, I will have seen worse films than this. I will have seen worse films than this. This movie just bored me more than anything. Because if your story is almost non-existent and hardly written in a way that's interesting to the audience or to the viewer watching it, then it's not going to deliver on any aspect. So we're going to go into the one topic I have, and then we're going to go into my July movies ranking all 19 of them. So let's get into this. Next up, we're going to be talking about Horizon. American Saga Chapter 2 gets a Venice premiere. This is very interesting because if you don't know, the first one has been pulled from theaters. It was supposed to come out on August 16th, the same day. The same exact day as Alien Romulus. So, we're going to go into this, and why am I surprised? Well, because if you're going to pull it from theaters and premiere it almost 2 to 3 weeks later at a film festival to try and get better numbers and more praise, we'll see what happens. But this comes from Variety. Kevin Costner's An American Saga Chapter 2 is set to world premiere at the Venice Film Festival after its U.S. release date was pulled. The Western epic's second chapter was scrapped earlier this month from its planned August 16th release date in U.S. theaters, after Horizon's first installment, which carried a $100 million budget, only earned $11 million on its opening weekend. Chapter 2, which is Costner again directs and stars, and alongside Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, Jenna Malone, and Danny Hudson, or Danny Houston, sorry, will bow to a little out of competition on September 7th. The world premiere will be preceded earlier in the day by a screening of the first Horizon movie, which launched from Cannes in May to a 7-minute standing ovation. So, this movie is going to be getting a premiere at Venice Film Festival. Why is that a big deal? Well, Venice is one of the biggest film festivals of the entire world, and it's one of the most important. The most important film festivals of the entire year, to me, go as follows. Those are going to be Venice, Cannes, Telluride, Sundance, and TIFF. Those are the 5 most important film festivals. We do have some other ones that are a big deal in the movie community, like, say, a Fantastic Fest or a Fantasia Fest. Those are big deals in the space of, like, indie/horror films. This is more for, like, the high caliber, supposed to be quality, maybe Oscar baity films. So for this one to be getting a premiere at Venice is very surprising. One, because the first one wasn't all that great. I'm going to watch part 2 when it comes out. I hope my theater gets it. But when I saw the first part, granted, I went on a Monday or a Wednesday showing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when people were at work. I luckily had the day off that day, so I decided to go and see it because I had the day off, and I was very disappointed in it. But not an awful movie, just overly long and a little too boring that didn't give a whole lot of character to the characters. And there was just too much going on in the story that it should have been a TV series, I think. But I am looking forward to part 2. I don't know if we're getting 3, 4, or 5. Apparently, Kevin Costner does have writing plans for those. But that's basically it. I'm very surprised that it is getting a Venice premiere on September 7th. So we'll see, because at film festivals, there is no review embargo. There is no review embargo at film festivals. So that's good for them. That is good for them. So on September 7th and 8th, we will be getting some reactions/reviews to this movie, and we will see what comes out about that. What do you think about Horizon Chapter 2? Horizon American Saga Chapter 2 getting a Venice premiere. Are you excited about a part 2? Are you looking forward to a part 2? Did you like part 2? I know one of my buddies really enjoyed the movie, and he watched it with family. So maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe you watch it at home if you have the chance, but I'd recommend going and supporting the movie in theaters, in all honesty, because if it's getting a Venice premiere, Venice does have some pretty high caliber films. So we'll see what happens. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know what you think. But I'm not expecting much, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So, this is going to be the big topic of the video. This topic is going to be massive, because I have 19 movies to talk about. I have 19 movies. Okay? So let's get right into it. We're going to be taking a look at July movies. So I'm going to be ranking all 19 movies. There we go. Let's try it one more time. Well, we're going to go into the comments first. I agree chapter 1 felt too long. I don't know if I will see chapter 2. I'm going to see chapter 2, but it kind of just depends when it comes out in theaters and if my theater gets it. If not, I will probably just rent it on Vudu or Amazon Prime or something. But next up, we're going to go into... We're going to rank all 19 July movies that I saw. This will include big budget films, smaller indie films, screeners I got, and some Hallmark stuff. So let's get right into it. First up, we're going to start off with the bottom of the list, which is going to be The Last Breath. The Last Breath is a shark film that had very little in the way of sharks, very little in the way of tension, and no character development. Starvaker is a film that I was not all that excited about, but Matt Smith was the reason I wanted to see it. Matt Smith is a fantastic actor, and I wanted more from this, but full core just isn't for me. I think I can say that this style of horror just didn't work for me. It was too damn slow. I wanted more. I really wanted more from this, but not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you're a fan of full core, this might work for you just a little bit better. So next up is going to be the Netflix film Vanished into the Night. Vanished into the Night does have very good performances. Very good performances from our two lead stars, but the script does it no favors. It doesn't build hardly any tension, doesn't really give you any clues, and the story isn't all that well written. The story is interesting in the very beginning, but the execution lacks depth. Find Me Falling is a mediocre romance film on Netflix that doesn't have any chemistry between our love interests and has too much going on with our side characters to really pay attention to our main leads. The Inheritance is a horror film starring Peyton List I was very interested in due to Spooky Astronauts' very first video of the entire month is usually a what's coming out in horror, in movies and television, and in theaters and on streaming. So I look forward to those. And after this, I am going to watch that. I was very interested in this one. And while the list is very good, the script does not have a lot going on with it. It does have some supernatural elements, sort of a possession element in a way. But what we have here is a mediocre story that is decently written, but there's too many characters here to give each character something to do. Because We're Family is a dramedy all about this family whose mother has passed away, and you're following them through 3 holidays as they're trying to cope with the death of their mother and their mother-in-law. So it's just these families through Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and they're fighting, they're making up, they're being family, the husbands are getting along, the wives are getting along. It's just everybody's just meshing together, trying to cope with the loss of a parent. It's not all that bad. It's just not that well written, and we get some interesting moments here, some good dramatic moments. Not all that many funny moments because the comedic beats just don't hit for me as a critic. My Spy is a film that I would like to talk a little bit about because I was very interested in this film because I liked the first one. I did like this first one. With that being said, this is a little bit of a step down from the first one. I enjoyed My Spy, and I'm not saying it's a great movie. It's just a pleasant surprise after seeing that Rotten Tomatoes score, which was down to like 18% when I saw it. It does have some good chemistry between our two stars, and Dave Bautista and Chloe Coleman, and a very funny performance from the awesome Ken Jeong. But this movie just should have been more. It should have had more of a action comedy element compared to a family style film that wants to be a bit more mature, but it's too afraid to go too far. The action is very well shot, and the comedic beats do work for what it's trying to do, but that's not saying that it's a great film. I got a nice surprise out of it. I got some good laughs, especially during one scene in a hotel room where the choir just starts singing out of nowhere because they don't want to be caught doing what they're actually doing, and Dave Bautista is helping them. But next up is going to be Bleeding Love. Bleeding Love is a film that is one that I was sent to review, and I reviewed it. It's on an episode of Noah Kaser Live. This one is all about a father and daughter who are going on a road trip to Mexico. To Santa Fe, New Mexico, and along the way, they encounter some interesting characters and obstacles while sorting out their relationship. They don't have the best relationship, so they're trying to sort everything out, with his daughter being a recovering addict. Interesting story. A little too slow for my liking. The performances are phenomenal and it's well written. It just should have been a bit more fastly paced, and it could have been trimmed down by a good 15 minutes and give some of our side characters who lead to some complications with the addiction angle with the daughter. We could have gotten a bit more of them and a bit more of reasoning instead of, hi, I'm here to cause some conflict. That's all I'm here for. But I'm going to recommend it, but I'm not going to recommend it as much as Murder Company. Yes, Murder Company does have a lower score, but this is all about enjoyment at the end of the day. Murder Company is a war film set in World War II, and this one stars two notable stars in Kelsey Grammer and William Moseley. In the midst of the D-Day invasion, a group of U.S. soldiers are given orders to smuggle a member of the French resistance behind enemy lines to assassinate a high-value Nazi target. This movie is really well shot. Good performances from our leads. However, it's just that it's only a one-time watch. I don't see myself watching this one more than one more time. If I ever see it again, I would be perfectly fine not seeing this movie ever again. So next up, we are going to be talking about The Girl in the Pool. The Girl in the Pool is a review that's doing surprisingly well on my channel. This is all about a guy played by Freddie Prinze Jr. who has a mistress, and after somebody attacks her and ends up killing her, he has to hide her body in a poolside towel hutch while his family planned a surprise birthday party in the backyard. And craziness and stress ensues, and it's not all that good of a movie. Freddie Prinze Jr. does overact, and the way the movie wraps up is not all that well written or pleasing. As a matter of fact, I wanted more from this, and I can not recommend this. Unless you are a fan of Lifetime films, then go for it, because it did feel very Lifetimey. But I'm only going to recommend it for that. But I had a good time with it. I had a good time with it. Because Freddie Prinze Jr. does have some good moments. He's just overacting at some points, and the story is not all that well written. But when we get to the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie, where we get to see the good chemistry between our mistress and Freddie Prinze Jr., that was very well done. I enjoyed the beginning of the pool party and the whole idea of him having to hide this body and what ends up happening there. But it's just once we get to one part where his daughter wants a towel because she's going to be going in the pool and she would like a towel to dry off with, he overacts so much that it makes it unbelievable that she wouldn't just open it right then and there. But there's the goal there's the girl in the pool. Next up is going to be A Very Vermont Christmas. A Very Vermont Christmas is a brand new Hallmark Christmas film that I watched and reviewed. And this was a good little movie. This was a good little movie. I didn't know much about it going in, but it was a Christmas movie and it was premiering on Hallmark Channel. That's all I needed to know. And while I enjoyed this one, it didn't come without its issues. The issues being that the misunderstanding that leads to the third act breakup is so unbelievable, and it made no sense to the film at all, because these characters barely knew each other, and you're going to get mad over something that small, that little. And it's the most uninteresting and dumbest reason for a misunderstanding in a Hallmark movie I've seen in a long time. but I didn't enjoy the story as someone who did not who doesn't drink beer. I don't consume alcohol. It is not just for me. I don't like it. There's a history in my family of drinkers, and it's just I don't have any interest in that. But it did give a good awareness of different brands have different flavors and ingredients and textures and smoothness to it. So that was very interesting as someone who is a non-drinker. And it does not have a whole lot to do with Christmas, so I think they could have stuck with the original title, which is Love is Brewing. But it does take place around Christmas, and this being the final film in the Christmas in July lineup for the Hallmark Channel, I really enjoyed it. But if you're interested in this film, check it out, but it's not one of their better ones. Next up, we will be talking about one of the biggest films of the month, and that is Despicable Me 4. Despicable Me 4 was a disappointing film, but yet entertaining. I can see myself watching Despicable Me 4 again over a Vermont Christmas, because if I'm babysitting somebody, or if I have people over who like the family, who like this style and have kids, great. I'll just pop this on for them, and I can get a good laugh every once in a while. It's just a film that I'm not going to remember until pretty much the end of the year. So next up is The Imaginary. The Imaginary is one that I was not interested in whatsoever. The reason why this is higher, and along the lines, this could go down at some point, but I was enjoying this until we get to the halfway mark. The halfway mark is where this movie really starts to slow down and does not give anything for these characters to do. We have subplots, we have good moments between our characters, but my issue is it does not lead to anything that is emotional yet pleasing to me. It's very well animated and it's well written. It's just I didn't enjoy the story as much as I wanted to, but I can see myself giving this one another chance over Despicable Me 4 because it is a better made film. Next up is Divorce in the Black. I think this film got too much hate. This movie does have a lot going on for it. That being that our performances are very, very, very well done, and the story is written. He delivers. Our writer and director, Tyler Perry, does deliver a good story with fantastic performances, but the movie suffers from being 15 minutes too long and a subplot having to do with the ex-husband's best friend having an affair from years ago that's brought up during a scene at his best friend's house was well written but felt very unnecessary and made the movie 5 minutes longer than it actually needed to be. And we didn't get any resolution to that either, because there is a scene where we get him, the best friend, whose wife goes, yeah, I know about it, but I thought that all of our things were gone, but now it's brought back up. I'm angry again. The scenes are very well written. There's a new love interest in here that is very well written, but he's not really in the action scenes. He's not really defending the woman he's supposed to be in love with. But I think this movie got too much hate. I'm not saying it's a good movie. Clearly, I gave it a passing score at 3 out of 5, but to me, that's a C. C is barely passing. It's a barely passing movie, but it's a decent enough movie where I'm going to say if you're interested and you like the past films that Tyler Perry has made, you're going to like this one as well. Operation Nutcracker. I did interview the writer of this on my Hallmark podcast, Heartful of Hallmark, Erica Deutschman. And this is all about a nutcracker that goes missing. And it's basically because these suitcases are switched at the airport between 3 people. And this nutcracker is priceless because it's supposed to be almost a one-of-a-kind, very rare, hard to find, and it's being held by a father who is supposed to be getting his daughter the biggest toy of the year in this doll, and it's basically them trying to hide the fact that he lost this doll from his mother, who is very rich and is holding this gala to sell this thing. It's a very good film, very entertaining, one I can see myself rewatching again over a very Vermont Christmas, thus it is higher. The Blue Rose is one of the better films of the entire month. The Blue Rose is a film that very few people are talking about, and they need to. They need to talk about this film. It is all about, it's all about these two rookie detectives as they set out to solve a homicide in the 1950s, only to find themselves in an alternate reality made up by their worst nightmares. Very good performances, specifically from our writer and director, and I can't remember the name, George. Very well written movie, and he steals every scene he's in, and the set design is beautiful along with the great lighting. It had a very A24-like feeling to it, and I really enjoyed this film. Highly recommend if you are interested in a lower budget film, but yet one that is worth your time. It's available to rent right now on Amazon Prime and on Vudu. I'd say check it out. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F delivered a very funny action comedy, delivering what we got from the first one, but not as much charm. Way better than the second and third film, giving a better attention to our comedy aspect, but also the action aspect. Good lead characters, but also interesting side characters that do have good chemistry with Eddie Murphy in Joseph Gordon-Levitt and meeting his daughter. His daughter is kind of thrown to the wayside, and their father-daughter relationship is thrown to the wayside, but I recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it. And next up is going to be the second best movie of the entire month is Twisters. I had a good time with this one. I am going to watch this multiple more times. It is a lot of fun, very action-packed. Not only that, it's tiny issues, but I highly recommend it. And of course, the best movie of the entire month is Deadpool and Wolverine. I really enjoyed this film. One of the best films of the entire year to me. One of my favorite films of the entire year. And I can highly recommend everybody go and see this. But then again, who doesn't have this on their top of the year list? Sorry, the best of the month list. I have not seen some films. I have not seen Young Woman in the Sea. I have not seen Kill. I have not seen a couple other films. But 19 films in the month of July, I think, is a good number. And I can not wait to do this next month in August and see how many new releases I watch in August. So like and subscribe if you're new. And let me know what you watched in July. What do you think of my ranking? And do you agree with me? What do I have wrong? What do you think I should have watched? And there is that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. But we're going to go into the comments before we go into our regular weekly topics. And this is going to be from Sav. Sav says, Matt Smith is a good actor. He's a great actor. I cannot wait to see what they do with the character of Damon in the season finale of House of the Dragon this Friday, and I will be doing a whole season 2 review of House of the Dragon on Tuesday's show. There could be a good actor, but if there's a bad script, it kind of ruins it. I don't know about Hallmark movies. Okay. So I would highly recommend you look on your streaming services, because if you're a fan of rom-coms, like very clean, cookie-cutter, family-friendly rom-coms, they're going to be for you. If you're not a fan of the happy-go-lucky, almost nothing is wrong, woman moves to a small town, meets the local shop owner, and falls in love with him over Christmas time by bonding with his daughter and meeting his family. She's supposedly there to be trying to sell this thing to her magazine by writing an article about the Christmas festival. Then you're not going to be a fan of Hallmark movies. Next up is Despicable Me 4 was an okay movie. Not the best of the Despicable movies. It is not the best of the Despicable movies by far. It is one of the weaker ones by far. I didn't like Beverly Hills Cop 4, and and you're right, Sav. That's awesome. That's awesome. I wish you would have, but hey, Movies are not for everybody, man. They hit each other in a different way. And I'm sorry you didn't like it. I hope you like the next one. If we get a 5th one on Netflix, which I'm hoping we do because I want more of Axel Foley. But it's unfortunate that you didn't like it, but that's okay. And the final comment for this one is going to be, I agree, Deadpool & Wolverine, best movie of the year. I think it's my 3rd favorite movie of the entire year, behind Dune Part 2 and If. On a rewatch, it could go up. So, next up, we are going to go into the regular topics, which is the box office results from this past week, the Netflix top 10, and what's releasing this week in theaters and on streaming. So there is that. And with that being said, we're going to go into the box office results. But first, I need a drink of water because I've been talking for 40 minutes nonstop. There we go. Now I can talk. So the box office results look something like this. We obviously know that Deadpool & Wolverine opened with $211 million at the domestic box office, but wait till you see what it's at the worldwide box office. Deadpool & Wolverine opened at $211 million. Twisters is at, you might as well say 35 million, but 34.9 million. Despicable Me 4 at 14.5. Inside Out 2 at 8.6. And Longlegs ends the top 5 with $6.7 million. Let's look at what Deadpool & Wolverine has done at the worldwide box office. $630.4 million within the first week. That's insanity. I said it probably wouldn't reach Inside Out 2. I'm starting to maybe backtrack on that. Sadly, Twisters is not doing all that hot, but that's because it had a monster with Deadpool & Wolverine in front of it. I'm hoping that maybe this takes maybe another 35-40% drop this week with more rewatches to earn maybe another, I want to say $20 million, $24-25 million. I would like that. Despicable Me 4 opened with a respectable amount, but now it's at $686.5 million. Probably not going to reach $1 billion. I see it ending at about $800 million. Nice round out for it. Inside Out 2 is still chugging along at the box office at $1.5 billion. Now let's take a look at this. We're going to take a look at the all-time animated box office. It's number 1. No, it's not. No, it is not. That still belongs to the Lion King. It's not going to reach the Lion King at $1.6 billion. At $1.64 billion. But what we are going to look at is where is it ranking now in the all-time box office. It's cracked the top 10, folks. It knocked out Avengers Endgame, and that's the highest it's going. It's not going to reach The Lion King. It's not going to reach Jurassic World, and it's certainly not going to reach Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm a big fan of the movie. It's my 4th favorite film of the entire year, but it's not going to reach that. Longlegs is doing very, very respectable at $74.8 million, and apparently with Cuckoo, they are going to have another massive hit in the horror franchise because these are made for cheaper budgets. So I'm hoping that maybe Cuckoo can keep them on a winning streak. The Fabulous Four did not fare all that well, but then again, it somewhat opened wide at 1,045 theaters, only earning $1 million at the box office. But what this does say to me is that while a lot of these films are not doing great, you got to look at the theater counts, man. You got to look at the theater counts because you are not going to have a $5 million opening with opening in 229 theaters or maybe 500 theaters. To do that, I think you need 700 theaters to maybe reach 1 million opening weekend for a lower budget film. But you also got to have marketing, and a lot of these films just aren't going into the right markets because there's other movies that the theaters know will make money. So they don't give the smaller budget films much of a chance. But there's that, and I will bring this up. A Quiet Place Day 1 is doing respectably at $255 million. So that's awesome. And Bad Boys Ride or Die, even though it's on streaming right now, it could near $400 million. It could reach $400 million. I'd be very surprised if it did, but there's that. So there's the box office results for this week, and now we are going to go into the Netflix top 10. And the Netflix top 10 has changed. It has changed since last Friday, but that's only because we have different movies out. Different movies, different things are out. So it's going to be a different time. So we're going to take a look at this. So this is going to be the Netflix, well, let me get the banner up here. The Netflix top 10. So the Netflix top 10 looks something like this. We have at number 1, taking out Trolls Band Together, Jack Reacher, Never Go Back at number 1. Number 2 is Trolls Band Together. 3 is Tarot. 4 is Ghostbusters Forbidden Empire. Sorry. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Number 5 is Land of Bad. Number 6 is Minions. Number 7 is the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Number 8 is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Number 9 is Find Me Falling. And number 10 is The Boss Baby. So Shrek is not there because Shrek is off of Netflix. It left Netflix in the U.S. on July 31st. Well, actually on August 1st. But the last full day, it was on Netflix for this run was August 1st. No, July 31st. And next, we will go into the Netflix Top 10 TV series. There are some things that are a little different here. If I can find it, here we go. There we go. So at number 1, this is no surprise. It's a massive book series, or a massive novel. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder at number 1. Number 2 is the new season of Unsolved Mysteries. Dirty Pop, the boy band scam, is at number 3. Number 4, Cobra Kai, the first half of the final season 6. Number 5 is Simone Biles Rising. Number 6, All American. Number 5, Prison Break. At number 7, it's Prison Break. Number 8, Too Hot to Handle. Number 9, the new season of Unstable. And at number 10 is I don't know how to say that, sorry. The Decameron. I'm awful at pronouncing stuff. It's okay, though. But there's the Netflix top 10. Mario Bros. Is still there. Shrek is gone. Shrek is gone. After all this time, he has gone off the stream. Off the top 10. That is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. But next up, we're going to look at what's coming out this week and in theaters and on streaming. There is a bunch of stuff coming out. A bunch of stuff. So let's take a look at this, and then we will end this live stream to end off the show. So we will take a look at what's coming out this week in theaters and on streaming. So what is coming out in theaters and on streaming? Well, it looks something like this. I have reviewed 2 of the films, and I will not be able to see Harold and the Purple Crayon or Trap because my theater is keeping Twisters and Dead Wolverine because it's doing so well. Okay. So Trap and Harold and the Purple Crayon opened in theaters, as does The Instigators, which is an Apple TV film that will be coming to Apple TV Plus next week. But we also have the Netflix films, Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, and Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness. Those are the extended cuts. I don't know if I'll watch those or not. The runtimes scare me, and I just don't know if I have any interest. The Well is in theaters right now. I'm hearing some decent things about that one. The Duel is in some theaters, a brand new film from Dylan Sprouse. On Lifetime, we do have a film called I Thought My Husband Was Dead. Going down here to the next week, just to give you a little bit more to look forward to. Here we go. We have Borderlands, which my theater is not getting. My theater is getting It Ends With Us. I will be seeing that probably on Thursday night and giving you guys my review of that next Friday. The Instigators will be reviewed probably not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. And I'm going to try and get a screener for Duchess. We'll see if I want to or if I even have the time. But also next week, you will be getting my review of Batman Caped Crusader. The full season of that. I am midway through that. Wow. There we go. That is, well, I don't know what it's doing. There we go. And looks like that's going to be about it for this week. But I do have the brand new Hallmark films. Jasmine. It's Jazz Ramsey, A Canine Mystery, and the brand new Hallmark film Junebug, as well as the Great American Pure Flix film Mr. Manhattan, starring Carlos Penavega and Alexa Penavega. So you'll have all those reviews along with some more and my review of Batman Caped Crusader next week. But that's it for the show, everybody. Like and subscribe if you're new, and I will see all of you guys next time. And before we go, let's go in the comments one more time because I don't want to leave anybody out. I wasn't a fan of the original Twister movie, but I thought it was just an okay movie. See, I thought the exact same thing. I thought it was a good film. I just didn't think it was anything to write home about. I like Twisters a lot more. Sav says, I did like the Bad Boys 4 movie. Yes, so did I. And Sav says, by the way, great live stream. Thank you, Sav. It's awesome to have you here every stream. It's awesome that you're a great supporter, and I cannot wait. For next Tuesday because, surprise everybody, I have Sav coming on. Sav is coming on as a guest next Tuesday afternoon at either noon or at 1 p.m. It kind of depends on what time, but I will be going live for a show next Tuesday because I do work next Tuesday night, but I still want to do a show and give you guys reviews. So there's that, but like and subscribe if you're new, and I will see all of you guys next time.